Ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it again with another video by another perspective. And that's going to be the Nigerian perspective right here. Because this video focuses on one topic in particular that I feel like is really important for the gacha space. Because every single gacha game has one. And that's protagonists. So what you're going to be seeing over here is stuff like ZZZ, you got Pyrois, you got Lumine from Genshin Impacto, whoever that bitch is on the side, I don't know who that is. Which game is that from? Anyways, and then Rover. Oh, that's the other Rover. For some reason, her hair is blue. You got all the gacha MCs from a bunch of different franchises, right? And the situation kind of is, MCs have gotten a lot better in recent months or recent years. Most people could probably say that most gacha MCs actually felt like faceless caricatures of like a person. Like most gacha MCs weren't really characters or people. The best way I could describe them is like they were like a homunculus, like literally like this faceless, almost like formless sort of like figure that like the player can weave into what they want them to be. But it's not really like that anymore, right? Not necessarily as much like sort of like self inserts going on, and more so this is like their own story. You're just playing them. Think, right? Cyberpunk 2077 versus Witcher 3. V from 2077, they kind of got like their own thing going on, but you can make V who you want them to be, right? You can make your V gay if you wanted to. You can make your V straight if you wanted to. But Geralt does what Geralt does because it's Geralt's story. And like, Geralt ain't gay. You can't make them gay. Or
we just got through the...
Or I've never tried. So I got no idea what you can do. Maybe there are some people out there that like have found some weird shit you can do in Witcher 3. There's a mod for that? Okay, so there are some people out there that have found some weird shit for that. Anyways, that's... that I feel like that's knowledge that I didn't need to share with my chat. Yeah, that's now people are going to click off the stream.
We just got through the Wuthering 3.5 live stream a couple of days ago, and it is looking like an absolute masterpiece to absolutely nobody's surprise. I mean, this live stream further proves how Wuthering has cemented itself in the conversation as the single best gacha game and possibly even one of the best video games out right now. But
I think the main thing is that the 3.5 live stream, bro, it was so good. And I'm surprised that the response isn't like more celebratory regarding it. But I think the situation is really this simple. People now just expect woo-wah patches to be the best shit ever. And like, this is a really good one. But the standard has now been raised dramatically following 3.1 and 3.3 and 3.4. So it's a little bit rough.
Out of everything shown during the live stream, there was one showcase that genuinely surprised me. Something that, for some reason, I never thought I would see in Wuthering Waves. And that was the reveal of Rover's new elements.
Ooh, okay.
Now, the element itself is not particularly surprising. We've seen the Rover gain new elements in previous regions and previous versions, so that is nothing new. Okay. The surprise is the showcase itself. I mean, previously, the Rover had always been a mildly fun character to use. They were enjoyable enough, but
well, their Havoc version has the worst hitboxes ever. Their Spectra version has the lowest range ever, and can't be played without quick swap. The Arrow version makes me want to cut my balls off, but Electro looks neat.
This showcase makes it feel like the Rover is entering an entirely different realm of fun. I mean, the movesets, the splendor,
I think that's the point. This one looks like the most playable one yet.
Everything that we're seeing in this showcase really makes the Rover feel like a character that you actually want to play. And more importantly, they play and look actually stronger. And the beautiful part about this is that lately, we've been seeing more and more gacha games adopt this mindset when it comes to their protagonists. So
I think the protagonist should have always been a strong, cool, fun character because you're kind of meant to put yourself in the shoes of the protagonist, not necessarily a self-insert. It's just Genshin Impact ruined it for the space. It fucking molested the idea of a useful main character by, like, for some reason, making every version of the Traveler worse than the previous one. Like, I don't know how they keep doing it day after, like, region after, like, fucking region, bro. Like, how was Hydro Traveler released? Bro, how did Hydro Traveler make it to live servers? What does that character do?
So the question we're going to ask in this video is this: why is this so surprising? I mean, if you really think about it, my surprise should make absolutely no sense. This is the protagonist of a video game, the main character, the character we get by default, and the character whose face we see more than anyone else throughout the entire game.
They should be strong, right? Like, bro, you expect to go play a Devil May Cry and Dante and Virgil are weak? You expect to play Devil May Cry and Nero is weak? Bro, you're gonna play Nier Automata and then 2B sucks and you never use her? in like an action role-playing game, bro, if like the main character is not strong or like not good or not viable, it's kind of lame, bro.
So why is the idea of a character like this being genuinely fun to play, actually strong, a character that we want to use in their own game? Why is this surprising to us as players? That's exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. So if you're into this kind of content, make sure to like the video and let me know your thoughts. Firstly, what do you think?
Dude, wait, we could hear him this time. Maybe he took the feedback. Nah, he's definitely speaking English now. Yeah, no, he said to like and subscribe.
About the 2.5 live stream. What were you most excited about? And even more importantly, what do you think of the Rover showcase? Has it changed the way you look at the Rover themselves or the way you look at gacha protagonists? Or do you have a completely different perspective?
Well, I already know a lot of stuff that new gachas are doing regarding their protagonists, so don't worry, I got you, brother.
Let me know that and more in the comments below, and of course don't forget to subscribe if you're interested on any.
Okay, he's doing it on purpose. Sorry. No fucking way, bro. Dude, that's on purpose. No, dude, that's on purpose.
Completely different perspective. Let me know that and more in the comments below, and of course don't forget to subscribe if you're interested on.
Nah, he's just saying gibberish. No, 1,000,000%. Nah, he overplayed his hand on that one. No, he's just fucking with us.
Any of my future videos.
Slow it. Oh god.
For the first subscribe if you're interested on any completely different perspective. Let me know that and more in the comments below, and of course don't forget to subscribe if you're interested on any of my future videos.
Dude, I'm sorry. Why is that the funny? Bro, because that's like the 4th time he's done it.
Alright, let's get into it. See, gacha protagonists are, at the same time, some of the simplest yet most complicated and diverse characters in all of gaming. I mean, for the longest time, due to the nature of gacha games and the fact that many of them were heavily female-centric, focusing on putting every manner of woman in front of the player, a lot of gacha protagonists were
Bro censored it.
Simply unplayable self-inserts. Their purpose was to serve as the player themselves.
And he's not wrong about this. So many, like, there are so many gachas, right, that are basically female-only characters, where you can only pull girls, and like the fantasy is like, oh, it's just you and your 10 million girls.
And now, yes, while there were exceptions like Dante in Limbus Company or Versing in Reverse 1999.
That's a dude? Wait, is that a dude? Or is that a girl? Oh, okay. I thought this was somehow supposed to be like a male protagonist. Okay, okay. All right. Default answer was correct.
What you would still come to understand, especially when you look at the wide range of protagonists across the gacha genre, is that those were more the exceptions.
Like, bro, that could have easily been a femboy, and that's 2020. Like, I hate modern society.
Than the role. And even those protagonists, despite all the personality and complexity they brought to their respective games, they still shared one major trait with many other gacha protagonists. They were not playable. Instead, they mostly served as observers within the story.
And some of them, honestly, the pro tags, bro, they might as well not even have like a design or a model, because they should, like, I feel like some of these guys, they don't even have a face.
And yes, whether we are talking about older gacha games like Honkai Impact 3rd or Fate's Grand Order, or even in bigger titles like Genshin Impact and Wuthering Waves, one thing that has also always been somewhat of a staple is the moving of protagonists away from being a pure observer. Instead, these games gave them a more active role within the story, a role where we, the audience, could actually play as these characters and experience the world through them.
Experience the world, and also every cutscene in the story, which is something that happens in Wuwa, Genshin, ZZZ, just pretty much every game, right? You'll be playing like your character, then you'll initiate a dialogue, right? And it'll be like instant transmission, like shwung, shwung, and then like Rover or Traveler or Trailblazer will come in like magically in place of your character.
In gacha, that was a little dangerous, more so because it was outside the box. I mean, what these games essentially did was remove the two things that had traditionally defined gacha protagonists, the self-insert role and the observer role. And instead, they gave these characters a much more dominant presence within the narrative. But even with that change, what we came to understand, especially looking at the newer, bigger gacha games from Genshin Impact onward, was that although these protagonists were more important to the story and far more playable, they still were not particularly fun to use
and I think this is the part over here where it's just a missed opportunity for no reason.
In gameplay.
Missed opportunity in gameplay. Genshin basically created like this narrative, right, that follows the Traveler and Paimon around. They're meant to be in and a part of every single quest. You're literally meant to be the Traveler all the time, and then you put in party teammates with the Traveler. But they made the Traveler so dog shit for so long in so many teams that you never wanted to put them anywhere into any lineup for anything except the Dendro version before Nahida came out.
We could list out 1,000 reasons why the Traveler is often considered a 3-star character, or why the current Rover is only used in very specific things within their own game. But I think the biggest reason for this...
Rover used to be very good, though. It's just, after Arrow Rover, we were honestly I feel like we were supposed to get another version of Rover sooner. But Arrow Rover came out in 2.2. We're getting Electro Rover in 3.5. So it's like an extended gap of time since we've just gotten the second form. Or really the third form.
This feeling of boredom surrounding gacha protagonists comes down to a single word: upgrades. More specifically, how absolutely underutilized that idea has been for gacha protagonists for a very long time. See, when you look at other video games, AAA titles, indie games, really any other genre, what you come to really notice is the insane importance of upgrades. I mean, giving the protagonist an upgrade in any way, shape, or form is usually one of the biggest parts of the entire experience. And really, think about that. I mean, the Blades of Chaos in God of War, or the Rebellion in Devil May Cry are some of the most iconic weapons in gaming. But also, what makes those games so
or when Virgil finally finds the fucking Yamato after searching for an entire game
memorable isn't just the default weapons, it is the variety that comes from the upgrades. Yes, we all love the Blades of Chaos, but there's a completely different level of excitement when you pick up the Sword of Olympus and the Nemesis Whip in God of War, or Beowulf, Agni and Rudra.
An excellent moment that directly reflects what he's talking about over here is when Arrow Rover got their sword. Right? Hey, that was a crazy moment, right? When Arrow Rover got Blood Pack's pledge, right?
Another weapons in Devil May Cry. I mean, every new weapon changes the way you approach combat. It gives you different playstyle, a different perspective, and in many ways, a new appreciation for the game itself. And really, that highlights something.
It was okay, let me know when Traveler gets their shit, motherfucker.
Both developers and players instinctively understand. The reality that the purpose of upgrades isn't simply to make the protagonist stronger. It is
Oh, you're talking about when Traveler gets the power of Hydro? Oh boy.
It's full transformation. It's about giving the gameplay experience.
I think that's what the elements in Genshin are supposed to be here. But then the elemental version of Traveler that you get, the new one, is so shit it ruins the image. Like, man, it would be like getting the Blades of Chaos in God of War and they suck.
Importantly,
like, and they're so bad you never use them. That's not how it works, right? But Genshin basically hypes up you unlocking this new power and it's dog shit.
The protagonist a different feel, a different look, a different way to play. It's about renewing the player's interest in the game through one simple addition. But for some reason, this philosophy just doesn't exist in the gacha games we know and we love. I mean, upgrades are absolutely present in these games. The problem isn't that they don't exist. It is that the entire purpose behind these upgrades is lost. And I think the reason for that all comes down to the default design philosophy of gacha protagonists. I mean, take the
Bro, she got turned into Roblox.
Traveler in Genshin Impact, for example. This is a character that I said earlier is often jokingly referred to as a 3-star character. And honestly, I think that criticism goes beyond simply not being strong enough. Cause see, the one thing that the Traveler's entire gameplay progression is built around is upgrades.
To be fair, ZZZ's protagonist got upgrades in the most convoluted, unearned, stupid story ways possible. Bro, what did the protagonist do in 2.x? I'm just wondering. Did they like become mystics? I still don't know what they were doing in Y-Face Summit or Yunkai Summit. What were they doing there? Like what did they do at Yunkai Summit? What was that entire character development arc for?
Every time we enter a new region, they resonate with the Statue of the Seven and obtain a brand new element. And as of making this video, the Traveler possesses every element in Genshin Impact except Cryo. And really, this is a massive deal from two very important perspectives. Firstly, from a story perspective, I mean, this is something that, as far as we know, only the Traveler can do. We have never seen or even heard of another character capable of wielding and mastering as many elements as they can. And this immediately gives the Traveler a sense of uniqueness. I mean, we as the players control the only character in the entire game capable of doing this. And
there's one scene that I want to take a look at later. I want to see if Nigerian Perspective puts it in. I'm gonna bring it up in advance. Ah, perfect. All right. I've got the backing clip ready. All right. let's keep listening to this, right? We're on the topic of Traveler being able to use all the elements.
Secondly, from a gameplay perspective, this is just as important, or in the very least, should be just as important. I mean, every new region should feel like an upgrade for the Traveler.
Okay, so this is the perfect time to show it. Wuthering Waves did this perfectly in fucking 2.2, which was over a year ago. Where you had the Fleur-de-Lis boss fight, right? Which is obviously where you obtain the power of Arrow. This fight is where you obtain the power of Arrow. And essentially, right, over here, when she's like out of commission, this is what happens, bro.
This warm light must not fade. Take my power, my blessings, my past. Seek out a future where I am your blade. We'll find it together. Righteous one.
Well, then why'd you look at the side of the screen, motherfucker? They make this the fight. You just switch between yourself. Which is like, how did Genshin not think of this? Where you just get all versions of Traveler and then you just elemental reacting off yourself and it's badass in a fight. Like, why wouldn't you just do that? Like, you could hyper bloom yourself or some shit. That sounds kind of sexual, but like, you get what I mean, right? Instead, Wuwa does it first, a year into its launch, with half the number of rovers that you have travelers, and they do it better. That's just the embarrassing part over here, guys. This is kind of the embarrassing part. Oh, Genshin did do it, but it sucked? Yeah, well, I guess Wuwa did it first, and they Genshin tried to copy it and it didn't work out. But this scene was badass. And this, to me, is truly like, Rover felt like the strongest character in the game during this fight. Because it literally felt like you were doing the work of 3 units in one, and you were beating a Threnodian's ass with just yourself. You feel like Rover is strong here because all you're using is Rover, and you are beating up the biggest baddie in like villain and also baddie sense in the game. And that's how a main character, right, should make you feel.
Brand new reason to bring them into our teams, a brand new reason to include the protagonist in our regular gameplay. But as we've all come to understand at this point, that resonance with the Statue of the Seven might as well be meaningless, because the Traveler is still widely considered one of the weakest characters in the entire game. With all these upgrades that the Traveler continually receives, all this lore strength that the game continually tells us they have, very little of any of it is reflected in the gameplay, and the reason for this is actually quite simple.
What is the reason? Oh, because they need to make some money?
Because it goes back to the default philosophy behind gacha protagonists that I mentioned earlier. The reality
not money.
That's even though protagonists like the Traveler are given a uniqueness that differentiates them from most other protagonists, at their core, that similarity still remains. The want for them to look dull enough that every other character would look infinitely shinier by comparison.
Ah, I see this. So it is money. It is money. Yeah, they just intentionally made Traveler. Bro, I'm not gonna lie. One of the big things about male Aether that I cannot stand is that Aether, in his default outfit, looks like a lesbian.
The sacrifice of any genuine enjoyability or compellingness from these protagonists, all in pursuit of sex.
Like, bro, I ain't trying to play some dude who's like out here wearing like a crop top. Like, I don't know what's wrong with these guys.
In more characters.
Like, why, bro, why is he wearing a crop top? I'm just wondering.
Really a situation where the developers want to have their cake and eat it too. I mean, we've seen this in Genshin Impact, and really, we have seen this in very many.
In Turkey, they thought Aether was a twink. Like, on Turkey national news, like, the Turkish media channels thought Aether was a twink. And like he was like actually gay. As a Turkish guy, I can't confirm. Hey, it's their homophobia, not mine.
Of the gacha games that have come out ever since, up until very recently, because these days we have started to see a shift in that philosophy. Now Genshin Impact is still very much the same, and it will probably always remain that way. I mean, we've already seen what the Cryo Traveler looks like in the trailers, and honestly, it is more of the exact same thing we've always gotten.
My bet is that Cryo Traveler is gonna be Sandroni bait, where like people think they can skip Sandroni and just use Cryo Traveler instead, and Cryo Traveler is gonna be the worst unit they've ever released, and their Polestar field is gonna be dog shit compared to Sandroni's. Everyone's gonna get baited, and then Sandroni is gonna rerun the patch after Cryo Traveler, after people see how fucking bad it is, and then just pull Sandroni, because Cryo Traveler's useless. I can see it. Sandrone is gonna rerun the patch right after Cryo Traveler. Like 1,000,000 fucking %. I can see it.
As underwhelming as expected. That said, there's another Horrorverse game that has started pushing this new trend, this evolution of gacha protagonists. And unsurprisingly, it is also the only Horrorverse game that has consistently shown its willingness to listen to player feedback.
They have to. I'm not gonna lie. ZZZ is one of those games where I just have to wonder, how did they fuck it up so bad?
Continue improving, and more importantly, to place its protagonist front and center within the story.
Like, dude, ZZZ honestly probably should fire every person that worked on 2.x. I'm not joking. You probably should just fire every person that worked on it. Like, they actually killed the game. I'm impressed that they were able to kill the game in 1 year.
That game is Zenless Zone Zero. I mean, say what you want about the game itself, but one thing nobody can deny is the fact that Pyroris, Phaethon's transformation, is one of the coolest, if not the single coolest protagonist upgrade we have ever seen in gacha. And
I think this one is pretty neat.
really, seeing this made me realize that Zenless Zone Zero might actually be one of the first gacha games to truly understand what an upgrade is supposed to be.
I think it's neat, but it's also kind of just like, well, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? Where the fuck did this come from?
I mean, whether it is visually or mechanically, this transformation is easily comparable to even the S-class characters in this game.
I think it's neat for sure. I think it's kind of just like, what is even going on? What is going on with this game anymore? Because, like, I thought, this is a reason why I brought up the Yunkai Summit and shit like that. Bro, you were out here trading for, like, 4 patches in, like, the mystical wushu arts, and then now it's they just retconned that, and now we get like this like knight in shining armor to fight for us. Like, wait, what was all that trading for before? So like I guess to me it's kind of just like, I don't know what's going on. Like I don't know what's going on for this to be occurring in the story. The MC has had powers of some sort since the start of the game. 2.x. Oh, okay, so they just making a bunch of shit up. Okay, okay. If they secretly had powers, since they just making shit up at this point. Oh no, 100%.
And considering how flashy and over the top Zenless Zone Zero already mixes premium characters, this is not a.
Gotcha. So Pyro East is kind of like the rule of cool. Let's not ask the difficult questions. Let's just accept he looks kind of badass and move on. That's kind of, I guess, what it seems like at this point. The rule of cool is what we're kind of like leading towards here. Just don't ask the questions about how we got here.
More achievements. And now with the Wuthering Waves 3.5 livestream, we're finally also seeing that same philosophy applied to Rover. An upgrade that actually befits a character who is supposed to be one of the strongest beings in the game's lore. And more importantly,
Rover feels strong. Rover feels strong. And I think one of the moments over here that truly shows you how strong Rover is this. And they did it somehow with another IP. The Cyberpunk collab, at least in my opinion, showed how absurdly strong Rover is with this one sequence over here. So, if you in lore know about, well, what the powers of certain Cyberpunk characters are, there's this thing called a Sandevisted, right? Which allows you to move at basically the speed of sound. Or maybe even faster than the speed of sound, right? Wait, are they beating his ass here? Oh, no, we are beating his ass there. All right. There's one moment over here that's really, right here. Right fucking there. Oh, yeah, he's zooming. He's zooming. So, Sandy is 95% the speed of light. Okay, all right. That's pretty fast, too. So, this scene. Abby's like going in, sucking up all the shit, right? And bro's like, all right, time to go beat his ass. So he's zooming right now. He is fucking zooming right now, right? You see everyone else is in slow motion. Nobody can react in time, right? We're fucked. Rover's just moving at full speed during a Sandy. Rover is moving in regular time during the Sandy. So this is like, you know how there was that one scene where like the Flash is like running around Superman, and then Superman just turns his head and looks at the Flash during the slow-mo. That's what this feels like. That's real aura right there. So we're faster than the speed of sound. That's what this is telling us. We're faster than the speed of sound. That's kind of crazy, isn't it? Because Spectra is all about time. That's actually why... this is the thing. It's lore accurate, too. Did you know that? It's lore accurate, too. You take a look at Spectral Rover's outro skill. Look at this. Generate an area of stasis centered around the incoming resonator, lasting for 3 seconds. So, Rover in lore, in their kit, slows down time around them. They slow down time around them when they intro skill in. And, like, I'm gonna be honest, straight up, that was their intro. They intro skilled in here. Yeah, no, Rover is intro skilling in here, low-key. That might be their animation, too. I don't know.
An upgrade that gives us the best of every world. I mean, just like the Traveler, the Rover also has the ability to harness different forces, and while individually, none of those forces are particularly flashy or overwhelmingly powerful. This new upgrade answers a very interesting question. What happens when the Rover is finally able to wield every forte all at once?
Kuro's gonna have some difficult things to plan for in the fight, because how are they going to give all 6 versions of Rover in a 3-person team? Oh, wait!
And really, from everything we've seen so far, the answer is phenomenal. I mean, the Rover may go from being a niche unit to one of the strongest characters in the entire game simply because of this upgrade. But even beyond...
Yes, they do all of their old Rover moves with the Electro one. And part of me is wondering, is Electro Rover just going to be the DPS Rover? And are we going to have other kits retroactively added into Electro Rovers? That'd be kind of crazy, right? Is like Electro Rover's meant to be the DPS one, where it combines all of the other forms of Rover, their attack animations, into its kit, and then it becomes the DPS one, right? And then when Fusion Rover gets added, then Glacial Rover, right? Those moves get retroactively put into their animations.
The impact these changes have on their respective games.
Sin support, so if you read their kit, you would know they have a sub DPS mode and a DPS mode. One where they can buff another teammate by using their forte, and the other one is where they buff themselves using their forte. So it's like 2-in-1.
What makes what we're seeing in Zealous Zone Zero and Wuthering Wave so exciting is the impact it could have on the gacha genre as a whole.
I think it's already happening. I think Enfield is trying to do the same thing as Wuwa, but their story writers are fucking awful. NT is also trying to do the same thing as Wuwa, but their story writing is awful. So it's kind of just like, you can see the influence of Wuthering Waves on both those IPs, but wow, those guys are really bad at writing stories.
I mean, for the longest time, almost every
so it doesn't really matter, right?
major gacha game had followed the same formula. They gave us either a self-insert or a main character with their own personality and their own gameplay, but often both are kept relatively restrained, especially the gameplay. Following that same philosophy of pushing the protagonist into the background so that every other character can take the spot.
Why is DNA there? Its story is actually good, but like the viruses aren't.
I mean, I use Genshin Impact as an example, but this is something we have seen from so many gacha games, including even Wuthering Waves and Zealous Zone Zero up until very recently. But with these two games, we had already started to see a shift, at least when it came to the protagonist's personality. I mean, I don't think it will be
Was that like that funny? I was just telling the truth.
Trained to see that the Rover has become one of the most interesting protagonists in the entire gacha genre. And the same could even be said for Bell and Wise in Zealous Zone Zero. And now both of these games are taking that philosophy one step further. They're no longer stopping at personality, they're improving the gameplay as well.
And I like that. I think the fact that Electro Rover comes in and combines the other movesets is something that's huge. And they're also a multi-role character as well. And I think the big thing is that their role as a Sin support, which is what a lot of people think they'll be, right? Because they buff the attack of the incoming person. They think they'll be a Sin support. They could have just been their own unit. right? A new 5-star unit that you had to like pay for and stuff like that. But essentially, again, from what it's sounding like, it sounds like Spectral, Rover, and Zodi is if Zodi didn't suck dick.
And if you really think about it, so this is another gamble, but this is also an evolution of the genre itself. And really, depending on how we see this protagonist in the coming future, this decision could shape how main characters are designed in future gacha games, whether it's the existing titles looking to evolve or entirely new games still on the horizon. This could become the new standard for what players expect from a protagonist. And honestly, I think that is a very exciting future, but that is just my opinion. What do you think about the changes we've seen in Zelda Zone Zero and Wuthering Waves? Do you think they're significant enough to change how protagonists are designed going forward? Or do you have a completely different perspective on this entire discussion?
All right, so my personal take is this. First, awesome video over here that takes a look at how MCs are really being both under and overutilized in certain IPs. And I think what's very, very, very clear is that Genshin is definitely doing some different things. I would have liked to have seen him expand on the weird FPS shooter bullshit, third-person Fortnite garbage that they're adding in Shiznaya, which seems like an attempt to spice up Genshin's MC, but it sounds like too little, too late, right? From the perspective of, you've had 6 regions to not make the MC shit. You can't just be doing all of this now because games like Wu are doing good. Or that's what it seems like, right? That they're, maybe our main character should not be dog shit. How is it that after Wuwa comes out, Genshin gives the MC a skin, Genshin gives the MC new gameplay, Genshin does all this stuff with the MC, when they literally did nothing for 4 years? Yes, the MC from Mondstadt to Natlan has been stagnant, static garbage. Doing nothing, having nothing, no team comps, nothing. And then suddenly now, new skin, new gameplay, new mechanics, new new shooters. Huh. A little bit weird. Huh. Would this all be there if Wuthering Waves wasn't as popular? Probably not. So you got Wuwa to thank once again. Genshin Impact players. Don't forget it. Peace out.